Hey, Rowdy,
Hello.
how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Good. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Mexico.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I was having troubles hearing you. I think closer. Can you?
Um, you're not able to hear me well.
No, I can hear you. It's it's when you move up closer to the mic.
Um, I could try to put my headphones if anything.
Yeah.
Should I try the headphones?
Yeah. I mean, I can talk. Let's try the headphones too. I just want to I want to get
Okay.
some good recording off this because I know you're going to share today is going to be really powerful. Exhausted, lower back pain, depression. Practice resets when you just started menstrual cycle. Absolutely. Yes, the resets will help you, especially the lower reset will help you with your menstrual cycle.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Yes, is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah, perfect.
Good.
Yeah, because I want to get some. It sounded a little bit tinny, like you're in a room there.
Right, yeah. Maybe the room is super spacious.
Yeah,
That's why. Yeah.
yeah. How are you?
Ve-
How are things going?
Very good. How are you?
Good, fantastic. You see, I got these on. I want to get a new pair from you because the prescription's slightly off, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I want to get a new pair with a new prescription. And you have the round ones now too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
those are the
Uh,
ones I think. Yeah, they're lighter weight.
this one you mean, or the other ones, the
They're
stainless steel one?
stainless steel ones. Those are
Yes.
lightweight, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so these,
Um,
and by the way, I want to say, so these, I just want to tell you that. So what I did, even though that when I first got them, it didn't have a prescription, I would use the three different colors, and I would use it as I went to bed, and I noticed a dramatic shift in my sleep cycle when I was using the red ones, the yellow ones, and then the clear ones.
yes, the orange and the red. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was on a podcast with Dr. Lara from DNA Co, and she got our glasses about 3 weeks ago, and she was absolutely impressed with her sleep score on her Oura Ring. She was reporting that her REM sleep went up by 25%, I think, and her overall sleep score went up by 10 points. So yeah, we got a lot of people. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people reporting back about how their sleep score is dramatically improving after starting to wear the Viva Rays glasses, combining it with proper light exposure,
So
like we teach.
So I think it's important for people because I see people all the time that have blue blocker glasses, they have yellow glasses, but I have found them to be not effective. I mean, people, I can look at their central nervous system and how tight their fascia is around here, and I can tell you that most of the ones that I've looked at in the world don't work. They think they're working, but they don't. So can you tell us a little bit about the technology and why these work? Like what's so important about the about what you found out?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we were to spend our day outside like our ancestors did, we were to be exposed to a sunlight that is dynamically moving in the sky. And we were to be exposed to different color temperatures of light and different amounts of blue light, depending on the time of the day. So, for example, the moment the sun rises, due to the nature of blue light, blue and UV light are short wavelength, high frequency light. And because they are short wavelength, they get filtered out by the atmosphere as the sun is rising. So the moment the sun is rising, we have a lot more orange, red, and infrared, and much less blue light. Okay, and as the sun goes up in the horizon, blue light start increasing, and the signal of blue light is absolutely important to the brain because it tells your brain it's daytime. So your adrenal glands start secreting healthy amount of cortisol, which gets you going. You start feeling alert, energized, focused, and ready for the day. Now, we we've seen like so many people, for example, talking about blue light is bad. It's not the case. Blue light is not bad. There's nothing in nature that is good or bad. Everything in nature is relative, and the
Yes.
effect of every force in nature on us will depend on the context in which we are exposing ourselves to this force. So if we expose ourselves to a force in nature at the right time, like blue light, we want blue light during the day, it has absolutely tremendous benefits on our health.
Right.
However, take that same force, which is blue light from the sun, and expose yourself to it during nighttime when the sun is not supposed to be up. And now you create chaos in your system. You throw yourself completely upside down. So we wanted to solve that problem. And we've seen so many of the blue light blocking glasses company launching technologies that block blue light in a very static way all day long. So for example, we have, I've personally tried some yellow tinted glasses for daytime exposure. And what I actually noticed instantly that the eye strain and the headaches disappeared. But after a few weeks of wearing them, I started noticing unexplainable drops of energy. And I didn't know why. And now, as I was investigating more and as I was studying circadian biology more and more, I was able to figure it out. And it was because those companies were blocking 100% of the blue during the day, and they were targeting that spike in blue light that comes from LED bulbs and screens, which is very inflammatory, and I would not recommend it. But the problem is that if you eliminate this spike, you also eliminate a lot of the beneficial blue turquoise that is essential for the brain during the day to let your brain know that it's daytime. So our daytime glasses, the one I'm wearing right now and the one you're wearing, they're not necessarily blue light blockers. They're more so blue light harmonizers, okay? Because again, we're coming to an agreement that we need blue light during the day. Sure. It's obvious that nature gives us a lot of blue light. So what we came and did, we addressed this inflammatory frequency coming from LED, and we thought about a way to make it less sharp and to balance it out with the other frequencies of colors like orange and red light that are more regenerative in nature. And that is because if we look at the spectral curve of sunlight, every system in nature is fundamentally composed of two polar opposites that interchange in balance. They're symmetrical and they're proportionate. And if we take that concept and we look at nature, we see light, we see darkness, and we need both of them equally. Right. We need as much light as much as we need darkness for our system to interchange in balance. Also within sunlight itself, if we capture the spectral curve of sunlight, you see you have on one side the blue spectrum, on the other side you have the red spectrum, and those are polar opposites. And anytime we're exposed to sunlight and it's nutritious light, we're exposed to that full spectrum, which is balanced. Blue light in nature is degenerative, whereas red light in nature is regenerative. But this doesn't mean that blue light is bad, because this degenerative quality of blue light, for example, increases oxidative stress. Exercise also increases oxidative stress, but that triggers the immune system to work better, increases antioxidant production in the body. However, if we exercise all day long without resting, we all know that we end up hurting ourselves. There's a system where we need to exercise and then we need to rest. And it's actually during rest time that we get the benefit of exercise.
Yes.
And if we think about it from that lens, blue light and red light play that same role, right? So blue light is degenerative, which is not bad, but it becomes bad when the light that we're exposing ourselves to is free from regenerative lights like orange and red light. And what these glasses during the day, they don't block blue light because it's not good to block it. They harmonize it, making it more proportionate and balanced with the other frequencies. Whereas...
So the interesting thing that you were saying is, because I did notice that. So when I started testing blue light blocking glasses, the first thing I noticed is that I was fatigued. About 2 to 3 weeks in, just like you said. And the fatigue is because you're not getting the stimulation from the natural light that you need to, which is in the adrenals. So this is kind of one of those overcorrections of mankind that we do. We say this is bad, so all of it's bad.
Yes.
We generalize an average. This is good, so more of it's gooder.
Yes. Yes, that's the tendency of the dualistic mindset that swings from one side of the pendulum to the other side. And we tend to forget that nature is centered. It uses polarity, but in a balanced, rhythmic way. And for us human beings, we tend to see one part of the equation. And yes, blue light could be bad, but in a bad context. But in a good context, it becomes good, just like anything else in life. I think even with food, right? Like so many times we say, "Oh, this food is amazing, and we need to get more of it." Well, more is not better. It's depending on like what situation we're going through, what the body is needing in this moment, and it's all
Well,
about context.
I think this comes back to the bigger question, which we're answering with our program with fascial maneuvers, is people have been disconnected from what their body is telling them. And so they have to rely upon somebody to tell them. Like, for example, they go, well, it's organic. It's good for me. And I'm like, well, but your body may not need that right now. Your body needs different things at different times. And just like you're saying, you need blue light during the day to have the secretions of cortisol that are proper. And if you block it all, then you're going to have another problem.
Yes.
And then we need the red light at night so that the body knows to start to calm down so it can produce the melatonin. That's what I noticed. So what happens is invariably I have my phone at night, and we're still at the stage where I've really reduced it. When I last time I talked to you, I was answering 400 to 500 messages a day myself.
Wow.
Today it's like 100. So, but I would be at night for 2 3 hours working on my phone, and I found that really impacted my health.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was I noticed it right away when I put in the red, put the red ones on, take these off, put the red ones on. I noticed right away that within the first 3 days, I started recovering in my sleep. I started feeling like I had more energy throughout the day. And most importantly, I wasn't as reactive to the stimulus. Like I wasn't as snappy if somebody said something. Didn't jump to anger as fast.
Yes, absolutely. Because again, we tend to think of cortisol as the stress hormone, as also like the bad hormone. In fact, it's not, because we need it during the day. However, when we start scrolling on social media at night after the sunset, or we even go to the kitchen, we turn on the lights, all these LED lights, what happens then is we get a signal into our eyes, into the brain, telling the brain it's daytime again. And the body responds to this by secreting the hormone cortisol at the wrong time of the day. We're not supposed to have cortisol at night. The moment cortisol is present in the body at night, we can't make melatonin, which is the highest antioxidant in nature. And it's the primary signal to activate all the regenerative processes that the body goes through at night. Like, for example, our mitochondria, they go through something called mitophagy, which is a process where old mitochondria recycle themselves and they replace them with good and new mitochondria that serve us. However, this process cannot happen if melatonin is not properly released into the bloodstream. The melatonin is the precursor for mitochondria to undergo proper mitophagy. And though we may get 8 hours of sleep day after day, if we are not getting proper darkness, the body is not detoxifying properly. The brain is not detoxifying properly. The eyes are not detoxifying properly. And inflammation start increasing night after night. And all these toxins start accumulating. And where do toxins like to accumulate? In fat tissues. And so in the belly, right? And it becomes a lot harder to lose weight, one. And second, where's two other areas that are absolutely rich in omega-3 fats? The eyes and the brain. And night after night, as the toxins are accumulating in the eyes and the brain, no wonder why we become sensitive to sunlight the second day, and people will start needing sunglasses. We also start experiencing a lot of headaches, eye strain. We wake up feeling foggy, unable to think clearly. Well, the brain is not able to clean itself properly at night.
So I have a question for you because it's come up and I haven't studied this. So very few things in the body I don't have the answer for. So I'm going to ask you as an expert.
Yes, absolutely.
So what I would do is I would viciously take these and walk them around and then make sure if I'm opening a fridge, I'd even close my eyes. Oh, shoot. So then I'd get my glasses on and then put it. how long of an exposure of that light do I have before my body starts to release cortisol?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. So it depends on context and it depends on the time of the day. It also depends on the history of your day. Okay, so what this means, if you're someone, Gary, who spent a lot of time outdoors during the day, you watch the sunrise, you took sunlight breaks, you watch the sunset, you're gonna be much less vulnerable to artificial light comparing to that same version of Gary who was indoors all the time. Okay, so though you're gonna be negatively impacted in both situations, if we take those two versions of Gary, one who spent a lot of time outdoors, one who did not spend a lot of time outdoors, the person who did not spend a lot of time outdoors, even though they have the same duration and intensity of exposure to artificial light after the sunset, their system is going to be thrown off a lot harder than the person who spent a lot more time outdoors.
So when I measure stress in the human body for mechanical reasons and for therapeutic reasons, I know that once adrenaline, norepinephrine, and cortisol hit the bloodstream, I know that it's a minimum of 4 hours for that hormone to go
Yes.
away. And it doesn't matter what sorry. That's in general. What we've found is that if we do like a fascial maneuver with the breathing, we could take that away in 15 to 20 minutes. So that's what would happen for me. I'd go down, I get exposed to the light. I'm like, oh, shoot, damn it. Okay, do my maneuvers, put myself back down.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's all about regulating your nervous system. But since we live in a modern world where everything is stimulating us, we really want to be deliberate about all the things, especially at night, to help us to maintain a parasympathetic response, to stay in our rest and repair and meditative state so that we can access restful night sleep. Also, it's tragic, Gary. I think like one of our greatest opportunities to actually engage in powerful meditations and in connecting with our intuition happens at night when we decrease sensory stimulation. To me, after the sunset, that's a great opportunity for me for less bodily sensed reality and more inner reality. And I use this time like deliberately to meditate, to connect with my intuition, to solve a lot of the problems that my sensed self cannot solve them during the day. Believe it or not, a lot of the problems.
We do the same thing. I mean, you see us on Instagram. We are morning sunrise maneuvers almost every day of the year, and we get probably sunset depending on where we're geographically located. We're probably 2/3 of the time getting the set as well as the rise. And that has been, I mean, people who've been watching me, I keep getting younger and younger and younger. I mean, that's been part of the journey. A lot of it has to do with light, because at the end of it, light affects my hormones. My hormones are what, dysregulation of my hormones is the greatest wear and tear on the human body.
Yes.
That's what ages us.
Yes, absolutely. So, for example, blue light at night it increases cortisol. It's very well known. There's a German scientist called Fritz Hollwich back in the 1970s. He published amazing studies showing how sitting under artificial light intensely increases ACTH and cortisol. And we all know that cortisol's role is to provide glucose to prepare the body for flight and flight mechanism, right? Because when our ancestors used to be in nature foraging and they would run into a predator, for example, a tiger, then the body will instantly release that cortisol so that you get enough glucose into your muscles so that you can so you can fight and flight and escape for your life. Yeah. Now, imagine that in our modern world, the true predator is no longer a tiger. The true predator is technology on one side and the unconscious use of technology. And on the other side is the psychological stress that we put ourselves into. Because when people sit down at night and they start watching Netflix and horror movie and they start worrying about all kinds of stuff, all of this is an immense amount of psychological stress that is throwing off their hormones. On top of this, they're exposed to all this blue light, and it's increasing their cortisol abnormally. And what this does, it increases their blood glucose level, and then the glucose level drops down. instantly, and it creates all kind of cravings for carbs and sugar. And people find themselves out of a sudden in front of the fridge, unable to control their desire to eat all this food, and they run into a cycle of guilt, especially in relationship to their connection to food.
Yeah, look, at somebody asked, I noticed my glucose in the bloodstream is higher in the morning. Can I prevent this from happening, adjusting the light before bed?
So they noticed that their blood glucose is higher in the morning.
Yeah, and they're asking if I adjust my blood sugar or my light levels before I go to bed, will that change it?
Absolutely, because it like basically new studies have shown that even without eating any food, with no food, no carbs entering your mouth, when you expose yourself to the wrong light at the wrong time of the day, your blood glucose will spike up and will crashes down, and that creates a chaotic blood sugar level. And when your blood sugar level is chaotic, it creates a chaotic mind and chaotic emotions. And when our emotions are all over the place, we are much more likely to make bad decisions. We are much more likely to burst out of anger at our partner, at our loved one. And we are much more likely to make bad food decisions, picking junk, sugary, carb foods rather than whole organic food, regardless of how much we think we have willpower.
So
It's like,
what do you think if you looked at society today? Okay, because we got some pretty aberrant behaviors happening today compared to like 30 years ago. 30 years ago, we had a very limited amount of blue light. As a matter of fact, in Lions Bay, Jordan, who introduced me to you, we've taken and we've gotten all those natural incandescent or natural lights, so they burn at the same frequency as a candle.
yes,
So we've replaced all the lights in there so that it's the same as a candle light.
yes.
But in the last 30 years, we've gone to these white and blue lights through that. So what percentage of you think health problems are a result of light imbalances?
To be honest, observing the rise of chronic diseases, it correlates with electrifying the earth.
Yes.
There's a massive correlation between the two.
Yeah.
And even skin cancer. People tell you, oh my God, sunlight causes skin cancer.
That's the biggest
But
line of bullshit in the world.
absolutely. and if you observe the data, well, before the workforce moved indoors, our ancestors were farmers. They spent 95% of their time outdoors. And from that point back, if you observe all things skin cancer, they did not exist.
No.
And it wasn't until Edison commercialized the light bulb and a few years later when we start electrifying the earth and the whole workforce moved indoors, you will see an immense rise in skin cancer. So if sunlight is to blame, how come skin cancer started increasing when we moved indoors, when we start moving sunscreens, when we start using sunglasses? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot around that. Cancer as a general rule, I mean, I'll just say it right here. I believe cancer is a parasite and parasitic activity. I believe it's affected by frequency. I believe that frequency is affected greatly by light, by stress hormones in the body, and dehydration. And the greatest contributor outside of light to cancer is the skin cancer is sunscreen. As
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
yeah, I tell people all the time, if you wouldn't eat it, don't put it on your skin.
Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing about sunscreen, if you read the label, it's full of phototoxic chemicals. Now, what does phototoxic means? They're type of chemicals that release toxins when light strikes them.
Yes.
So why would you ever want to put chemicals on your body that react badly to light when you are in light?
People are gonna figure this out. Now, look at I'm a white Anglo-Saxon, pink skinned guy. So my entire life, if I was a guy that would go out, if I'm in California, I'd go out for if I was out for an hour on the beach without covering myself, I would get burned and sunburned bad. I've been like that my whole life. Since I've been doing fascial maneuvers, mineralizing, and opening up my fascia, I go out literally. I can go the entire 8 hours in the sun as a really, really white dude, I get red, but I don't burn anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of it has to do with the light balancing, because one of the other things that I've noticed is that the amount of light that comes in, like we wear normal glasses, people will wear just glasses, and they think that that's okay, but that glasses regulates my internal and external heat distribution. So if I'm wearing sunglasses blocking out the light, my body doesn't know how to respond to a heated environment, means that I would have to require more clothes and more protection. Because part of it is, and this is why wearing, I tell people all the time, wearing sunglasses is the worst idea you can do for anything. But wearing something like this, even throughout the day, like I'm outside, I don't need this. I can take this off like this.
Absolutely.
But as soon as I come inside, most of the light has got an aberrant amount of blue light. That's not okay. So I put this on. Like I can feel the difference already, my body calming down. Just from that, because I got white lights on me right here. And so when I'm in that cycle throughout the day and I'm wearing these throughout the day, I'm getting a balanced amount of blue light, the proper amount, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So it's all about context. It's all about time of the day. During the day, these are necessary because they're making the inflammatory light more balanced and more proportionate with the regenerative parts of the spectrum.
Somebody asked that question here. Here's a good one, because I get this all the time. What about sunglasses to drive in light if the eyes hurt because it's hard to drive?
So what about sunglasses when you're driving if your eyes hurt?
Yeah, you're driving in the light.
Yeah, so the reason why their eyes are hurting, which we can't deny, is because of their past lifestyle. Okay,
yeah.
So you're taking someone who's been conditioned to stay outdoors all of the time. 90% of their time is outdoors, and their retina is no longer having the capacity to adjust properly to sunlight.
Right.
And on the other side, at night, when they're supposed to get a lot of darkness, they're getting blasted with blue light. And what this is doing is destroying their melatonin production and their growth hormone, which means that their eyes are no longer capable of cleaning off inflammation at night when they're supposed to undergo that cleaning. So that they wake up the second morning, their eyes are inflamed, they go outside in the sun, and they feel like it's too bright to them. For someone who's struggling,
like their eyes are inflamed, and it's because of, like you said earlier, conditioning. If you're having problems with the natural light during the daytime, it's because you've been conditioned in your body, and that conditioning is not good. So this is why we start people off, and a part of our whole program is we tell them to start to sun gaze in the morning,
yes,
and at night. And that practice alone, the sun gazing, I mean, you're in Mexico like me right now, so I mean, it's really easy to do it here. But that practice of sun gazing has built my ability to adapt to the environment much better.
Yes, absolutely. It's an excellent practice because as the sun is rising during that time, there's very little UV, there's very little blue, and the sun is full of regenerative colors that will start. When we talk about melatonin, there's really two types of melatonin. Melatonin that is known as sleep hormone, but there's also another type of melatonin. It's called it's endocrine melatonin, and it's not the circulatory melatonin. And this melatonin is actually produced in response to red and infrared light from sunlight, and its job is to clean off inflammation on site in your cells during the day. And one of the reasons why
Roudy,
sun gazing.
I was going to say, so people could put this in reference. That's why in the technology spectrum, we have near infrared lights being sold everywhere, because it produces, that literally is what it's doing. It's producing that form of melatonin. That's what people are going, that's what's healing me. So I just wanted to confirm that.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the reasons, and one of the ways infrared light produces positive impact on the body, because of the endocrine melatonin that actually cleans off inflammation during the day, which has nothing to do with the circulatory melatonin that we produce at night when we sleep.
Right. So nighttime, so in breaking these two apart, in daytime melatonin or endocrine melatonin and nighttime circulatory melatonin, is there any other ways that you can increase endocrine melatonin that you know?
The only way that I know about is proper exposure to sunlight during the day.
And that's
Yes.
basically that's it. We got to be in the light.
Yes, absolutely. Like there's no other way. That's the primarily signal for endocrine melatonin to be released in the system. But for anybody who is experiencing eye issues when they are out in the light, there's a protocol that they can follow, and they need to be patient with themselves and remember that for so many years you've been conditioned to be indoors all the time. When you stepped outdoors, you put your sunglasses, so your eyes have never been trained to capture the high lux light coming from sunlight. So the two most single important things that someone can do is, number one, making sure that they're blocking artificial light at night. Okay, so they're allowing their eyes to clean themselves, and they're decreasing the level of inflammation in the eye. And number two, getting the Sungazing. And number three, slowly start removing your sunglasses. Okay, so if your eyes start hurting, put them on, but then increase your time without them day after day until you come to a point where you no longer need them.
And that's exactly the way I did it, because I was the guy who wore sunglasses all the time, even inside in a mall or whatever. I wore sunglasses all the time. And that's exactly what used to happen to me. I couldn't look at the sun. And then as I started to be more conscious, I started to sun gaze eventually over time, but it was incremental, back to the habit part. The body is built on habits. And if the habit is to react to the light in a certain way, because the lights themselves are firing hormones, and those hormones become the habitual pattern or the addictive pattern that the body wants. So when I put on, somebody asked, help with healing concussions. I'm imagining that you have been working with people with concussions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it all ties down to very similar principles. Okay, so when we talk about circadian biology, we have this central clock sitting in the hypothalamus in the brain, and its role is to orchestrate every biological process in the body, from healing to regeneration to digestion to weight gain, etc. And this central clock relies on primarily two main signals to create optimal health. Number one, sunlight during the day. So things like sun gazing will profoundly help a brain that is wanting to regenerate and heal from concussion. The second signal is darkness after the sunset, and staying consistent with blocking that light after the sunset. Now, why is that very important? Because every organ in the body works on a time clock, and it's controlled by light and darkness. And that's also true for the brain. In order for the brain to activate repair and regeneration, it must have proper light and dark cycles. For example, also take the liver as an example. The liver is connected to the eyes, and it's the main body's detox system, and it's controlled by light and darkness. In Chinese medicine,
one to three.
Yes, absolutely. The enzymes in the liver that clean the blood, they're active between 1 and 3 a.m. And when we expose our eyes to artificial light after the sunset, this messes up with our peripheral clocks, not only our central clock, and all of our organs become less capable of detoxification. But we spoke also about toxins. Where do toxins accumulate? In the eyes and in the brain. And for somebody who's trying to heal concussion, you definitely want to make sure that your circadian clock is working properly, and so that your brain is able to clean itself every night while sleeping. And the eyes are an extension of the brain. So we know that there's the glymphatic system, which clear waste and toxins from the brain. And it's primarily active at night when we sleep, right? During sleep, the cells in the brain shrink by about 60%, increasing the space between them and allowing the cerebrospinal fluid to flush out all the accumulated toxins. And this is also tied to our circadian biology, this is also tied to whether we've seen sunlight during the day and whether we are properly blocking artificial light at night.
Yeah. So, and what I tell people that it's a series. There's no one thing that's going to cure you or make you better as a whole, but certain things have a weighted impact on it. One of them is the most powerful thing is to get out in the morning, get out at night, and look at the sun. And like I'll stare directly in the sun for 15, 20 minutes right now without it, but I started at like 30 seconds.
Yes.
The second thing is to limit, and what we've done in our lives is we've gone back to light bulbs that mimic candle flame. So I think incandescent, but a special one. They're hard to find actually. Like we had to search for them.
Because the incandescent, they got banned by the government in the US.
Yes.
And many people were freaking out about it and going out and buying and stocking a lot of incandescent bulbs. But yeah, unfortunately, they got banned way back in Europe, and now the US, I believe, banned them as well.
Yes. Yeah. So we buy them and bring them in now. And then the third one is to work. It's not just the blocking, because I see people use blockers on their computers, blue blockers, but again, they're blocking the entire spectrum of light. Like I think it's important to talk about how you got to the color or the frequency, because there's a lot of ones that look like this out there, but they don't do the same thing. So how is it that you got to the actual color that harmonizes the light, and why? Because first of all, I don't know if there's another one that I have used or been exposed to that harmonizes. They block, and you can feel a difference. After 2 to 3 weeks, energy goes down. So how did you get to this color of light?
Yeah, via experimentation. So I was working with a professional doctor from Florida who really connected with my story, and for about a year back and forth, we conducted different studies to measure the frequency of light that is being emitted from LED lights and LED screens. And our goal was to come up with a dye that decreases the sharpness of that light without blocking it, while maximizing the blue turquoise that I spoke about being a very important part to activate the brain and to tell the brain that it's daytime.
Yeah.
So after a lot of back and forth and experimentation, we were able to come up with a specific dye that was able to harmonize the blue at 455 and maximize the blue turquoise at 480 nanometer. Whereas, for example, the evening lenses, those are the ones that you would wear right after the sunset.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? Because our ancestors, after the sunset, have been only exposed to firelight. And given that light is information, it is signaling to our nervous system by the end of the day that the day is ending, and therefore the body starts winding down, feeling more calm, and feeling and preparing for a restful night's sleep. Now, this specific tint, we engineered this tint to mimic the color temperature of the bonfire at 1900 kelvins. I mean, we all have experienced what it is like to be around the bonfire. We feel calm, we feel relaxed, yet we have enough energy to dance, cook, and socialize with our friends. And that was the intention from the evening lenses, especially in the winter when the sun sets at 4 or 3:30. If we were to put the nighttime lenses, it would be very dysfunctional because you would want to go to bed at 5. Whereas the nighttime, those were engineered specifically to block 100% of the blue, 100% of the green light as well, and to decrease the brightness by 20 times. Because that's a very important feature also that is often missing in blue light blocking glasses. And that is because from a circadian perspective, bright light from any color has a negative impact on our circadian clock and negatively impact our sleep. So it's not only about blocking blue and green, it's also about decreasing the brightness of light. And
yeah,
those
I noticed with the red ones, it feels like I'm in a fire, but I can still see my screen of my computer or my phone. So, but it really feels like I'm looking at it through a fire.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing that most people also are not aware of, most of us think when we speak about the detrimental effects of blue light, we think automatically phone, screens, and televisions. But the truth is that the LED bulbs that we are using in our homes, down the mall, down the street, yes, they all emit the same frequency of light that is emitted by the phone. So it's not only about managing the light of your phone and your screen, it's also about being in control of the light that is entering your eyes after the sunset.
That's why
there's a research
I
that
said the old refrigerator. I'm like, oh, damn it.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some new research that was published by Dr. Samer Hadar. He's a circadian biologist, and he showed how very little amount of artificial light entering the eyes after the sunset suppress the release of dopamine the second day. And dopamine is this miraculous molecule that gives us the motivation, allow us to think outside of the box, make us pay attention, and allow us to see the bigger picture in life. So it's like, think of molecule of dopamine as your resource to allow you to achieve difficult things in life, to allow you to achieve your goals. And what happened is every time we expose ourselves to artificial light at night, we wake up the following day with less dopamine in our system. And he also showed that this artificial light activates a part in the brain called the habenula, which is associated with feeling more unsatisfied and disappointment.
Yeah. Somebody was saying that it's not only the light eyes, it's your skin. You're 100% right. It's just that the consistency of what your body takes in, the light is the first indicator, and then the skin capitulates as well. This is why I was saying that when you wear sunglasses, it changes your skin's reaction to the world. Like sunglasses cause the skin to burn more.
Yeah, so to comment on this, here's what happens. The eyes are the primary pathway via which light resets our circadian clock. And from the central clock, all kinds of messages are being sent to peripheral clocks. So yes, light on the skin has impact, but in a different way than the light entering our eyes. So take an example. If you're out in the sun, just like you said, Garry, you have sunglasses on your eyes. Even though UV is hitting your skin, your brain will not recognize that there is UV in the environment because you're blocking UV from entering your eyes. And therefore, as a consequence, the brain will not tell the skin to produce melanin and alpha MCH. And therefore, alpha MCH is the natural compound that allow you to tan, and it's natural sunscreen. And what happens is when you're blocking sunlight by wearing sunglasses, your skin will not produce melanin and you will burn more. So yes, the skin has a reaction to light. For example, we produce vitamin D via light striking the skin, but the primary pathway via which light enters is the eyes. And then the central clock in the brain distribute all kinds of messages to the skin and to the organs.
And that's, again, back to that whole conversation. It's, the glasses help us be in an environment that is not conducive to us. That being said, is that we still want people to start to change their environment. I know that you live out by the beach in the jungle, that you get out into the day and the sunlight in the morning and the night, and I do as well. That's been a big change for me. So this is like, for a lot of people that are out there that are listening to this, it's not just about wearing glasses, it's about changing your lifestyle.
Exactly.
And this is one thing. But what I found is that when I have more dopamine, when my hormones are more balanced, and it's like if I go to the gym and I start working out, I want to eat better. And so if I take care of my circadian rhythm and my light, then all of a sudden I'm more conscious of the things that are hurting me.
Yes.
If I don't, then I let these things hurt me because it's just one more thing for the body to deal with.
Absolutely. It's beautifully said. It's about all these healthy associations that you can make. And the more healthy association you add into your life, I find that the greater my intuition becomes, and the greater my ability to know intuitively what is good for me and what is bad for me. Because take an example of someone who eats McDonald's every day. They're living in this box, and beyond this box, they've never experienced what it is like to eat whole and organic food. For them, they may say, "Oh, organic McDonald's is pretty good. I'm doing pretty well. I feel good." Take the same person, put them on an organic farm, have them go on a wholesome organic diet for 1 week only, they will not be able to come back and eat McDonald's in the same way they did before, because now out of a sudden they experience what it feels like to be outside of their box. And it's the same with light. I meet many people saying, oh yeah, like artificial light doesn't affect me that much, I sleep well, etc., etc., etc. And the truth is, you think that you sleep well, you think that you're okay, but until you snap outside of your box and you experience a better and a more optimal reality, you cannot realize what is awaiting for you outside of that box.
Two things. First one is that you can, people have been asking, so you can go to our products and our partner page, you'll see Viva Rays there, and you can order Viva Rays so you get the discount. And the other one that came up is they can be made with prescriptive, right?
Yes, they can make with prescription, absolutely.
Okay, so go to our partner page and underneath our products and grab those. The other one, oh geez, it was just what you were just talking about. I had something really important to say.
I have a sense that you wanted to talk about the UV transmitting lenses, perhaps.
Go ahead.
No?
There's one other really important one to talk about. I'll catch it in a minute.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, I mean, for everybody who wears prescription, what they need to be aware of is that inherently, when you go to an optometrist office, you buy glasses in prescription. Those are made to block 100% of the UV light. They also block a very important portion of the blue-purple light. So you're outside in the sun and you're not getting those signals into your eye. And why those signals are important, there's countless reasons, but I'm just going to give a few examples to give some context. When UV light hits the eye, it allows us to produce a molecule called POMC, propionmelanocortin, which is a precursor to so many important hormones in the body. For example, beta endorphins, the natural painkiller, and the natural opioid feel-good hormone is produced due to UV light. Another one is alpha MCH. Alpha MCH is produced when UV light strikes the eye, and it is what allows us to tan, it increases our libido, it decreases inflammation. Also, another very interesting thing, it decreases our desire to eat. And it has been shown that so many people who lack alpha MCH, they tend to have a disruptive relationship with food, leading to weight gain and obesity. And there's countless other reasons, but you want UV light to enter your eyes. And that's why we came up with a solution for people who wear prescription, which, Garry, you're wearing it under this one. So when Garry goes outside, he removes the yellow one. And the lenses that you're seeing right now that Garry is wearing, they're designed to allow 50 to 60% more UV light when you're outside in sunlight, because you may be driving or doing something that requires you to see. You're not able to remove your prescription completely, and then you don't need to think about it. You're still getting that UV light into your eyes.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to order the stainless steel ones. We've been crazy since I talked to you last. Just this trajectory, I haven't even been able to stop. But I wanted to order them for a couple of reasons. These have been well used by my team. The other ones here, and for those of you guys who know, I just wear a prescriptive magnifying because I've been shifting my face, and everybody's been watching me shift my symmetry in my face, which shifts the fascia. One eye used to be really squinty like this,
right?
And then as I'm shifting it, I didn't want to reprogram my muscles, so I magnified everything. Now I'm about to reprogram my eyes and stop using glasses at all. But that's why that's why I didn't want to get a prescription, because prescription gives you one further and one lighter. That's the worst thing you can do. That's like wearing a crutch. And when you wear a crutch, you become super dependent upon it, and it gets worse over time. So what I've noticed is that the people who are wearing these that I've watched, I've noticed that their need for their magnifiers for reading has dropped. Because what I'll just do is I'll give them this for a while. I've been testing, and I watch them, and then all of a sudden I'll catch them reading without using magnification. So that means that their eye health is getting better, their ability to convert.
Absolutely. And the fascia plays an absolutely essential role in this. And for everybody listening, my colleague, Dr. Jacob Liberman, he written a very interesting book called Take Off Your Glasses So You Can See. So I highly recommend this book. Personally, interacting with clients, we've heard so many stories of people who were able to get rid of their prescription using fascia and eye exercises, sun gazing, and blocking artificial light at night. The combination of the three is very powerful because it energizes also the water in the mitochondria, and the eyes are extremely rich in mitochondria. So if you're giving your eyes the proper environment to produce the fourth phase of water, the highest quality water, and to clean off inflammation, then anything is possible.
Yeah, so my face was way less symmetrical a year ago. And I've been on this journey to do this final stage. And like I said, this eye was really squinty. This one was really big. And that was because of the twisting and torquing of the fascia that was pulling my muscles out of shape.
Right.
So over time, I had to keep readjusting the muscles on one side. And then eventually I started having problems seeing. And that's why I instead of going to get glasses, I just got magnifiers to work. And I'm about ready to do that. That's why I want to get the new set, the stainless steel from you, because I want to add more to the circadian. I know that when I use your glasses at nighttime, I know I have more energy in the daytime. So I know that the mitochondria is working better. I know that my dopamine levels are up, and that's why it's one step for people. I encourage you, especially in your current worlds. Our current worlds are built to break us down in everything: chemicals, light, belief systems, news, information. And this is one way. And it takes that one step. Like if I make myself better here, I have better hormones, better sleep, better energy, then I want to do things around me that are better. And that's why I really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about stacking those good habits step after step. And we tend to underestimate how much very little step could make a massive impact. So, for example, at the beginning of this year, I do practice Shaolin martial arts. And I started with a little challenge of what we call the bear pause, where I pause on my fist for 5 minutes. And I decided to increase 1 second per day. But if you think about it, that's 360 seconds per year. So by the end of the year, I'm going to be at 11 minutes something. And when you think about it, it's 1 second per day. But over 360 days, it becomes more than double with what I started with. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's adding those little bits to it. So Rowdy, I'll talk to you offline. I wanna get the new ones. I'll purchase them and get the new ones. And also so I have the different colors. And if anybody has questions, that you answer questions on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They could also reach out to us at support@vivarays.com.
Yeah.
Vivarays, Vivarays. Also, I want to invite everybody. This is a new topic, and just like anything in life, in order to learn something new, it requires repetition. You need to expose yourself to it again and again and again, so that you could, digest this information. Just like the food that enters our mouth, in order for it to be digested, it needs to go into our bloodstream. Also, it's the same with kind of, information. Don't overstuff yourself with information. Pick what's important and make sure that you digest it. So on our website, there's 2 free resources. One is called, it's a short e-booklet, about 50 pages. And it's a culmination of like 7 years studying quantum biology and circadian biology. However, when I wrote it with the intention to make it extremely simple. So anybody, like a 4-year-old kid, could read it and know exactly what they need to do in order to elevate their light environment and experience better sleep, more energy, and more focus. So that's one that I recommend. You can download it for free on our website. And the second one, I wrote a winter blog series. It's a 7-series blog where I teach everybody how to transform their winter from a time of sadness and fatigue to a time of rejuvenation, joy, and inner connection. And throughout those 7 blogs, I explain about forces of nature that are corrupted currently. And because due to the corruption, they lead us to think it's summertime when it's wintertime, and therefore we start suffering. So I teach people very simple steps on how to correct those corruption in their light environment, in their connection to the earth and temperature and the food that they're eating during the winter, so that their body knows it's winter time and so that it does what it's designed to do and thrive.
Hey, so I'm going to get you to also reach out to Lisa, because what we'll do is we'll put a blog post around it and then send that ebook out to our base of people if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send
I think
both
it'd be
the
great.
e-booklet and the winter series as well.
I think it'd be really great because it gives them the ability to digest. Like I said, you can't take it all at once. Even this lifestyle, I'm still making adjustments and moves every day, and it's taken me years to get to where I am by taking one step a day, like you said.
Yes,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Rowdy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gary, for having me. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful
Take
day.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.